Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel. If this is the first time you're visiting our channel, we want to extend to you a very warm welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. Elpida, Orion and myself are here in the workshop, and today we're going to tackle an organizational little project. So stick around and we're going to show you how to make a mobile base for any tool or any table or anything that you want to have something heavy mobile on it, right? So this will be our short project for today. Stick around. As always, we're going to show you every step of the way. So we finally brought our bandsaw in from storage, and it was on a stationary base, and we needed to be on a rolling base because our shop is very small and we needed to easily move around so we have space to work. So today's project, we're going to make a rolling base for the bandsaw, and we're going to show you how to do it. So we raided our scrap, and this is the material we found to do our project with. And of course, if you're so inclined, you could measure, but as you know, we don't believe in measuring. So I'm going to put a mark there, and we're going to cut two pieces that mark, and then we're going to do the same, and we're going to cut another piece, right?
So the base is not a square, it's more of a rectangle,
Right.
So two sides are longer than the other.
So don't assume that it is a square.
Right.
You can always take one if it is similar, cut one and see if it will fit all your sides. Mm-hmm. But as you know, we do not measure because it is a tenet of the channel. Measure not, use storyboards and measuring sticks, you know?
Okay.
So we'll take it to our saw, and we're going to cut this. So we'll make lap joints to connect the pieces, and to do that, it is a 1x material we have, and of course 1x is really 3/4, right? Because America, we make things that make no sense.
Right.
So half of 3/4 is 0.375 inches, mm-hmm. which is about a third.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an idea or not?
Yep, completely.
So we're going to use some of our spacer here to set our blade. Hey, congratulations. I almost did it correctly.
Well.
So we're going to set our blade to 0.34, 0.357, and we're using our spacer blocks to do that. And we're going to mark our lap joint. I just put them over together, make sure that it's flush on that side. Mm-hmm. Does it make sense how it is? And we're going to make a mark there. And of course, in this case it's obvious, but it's always a good idea to put a mark mm-hmm. where you want the material to be eaten.
Okay.
Now, then, we're coming back here once more, and we're going to eat the material slowly. I don't know, eat is the right way. And we want to be inside that mark, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to put our fence there. Now this would work. This will go much faster with a dado blade, and we do have a dado blade, but I want you to demonstrate that you don't need to have a dado blade, right? Mm-hmm. And this is one half of the lap joint. We're going to have to do the other half as well, right?
So what we did is effectively take off about half of the board, and then when we do the other cross board, they'll fit together so that it's the same width.
Now, if this was furniture, we would probably take a chisel or something and make sure that this is nice. You see, it's a little ragged.
Yeah.
In this case, we don't really care. It is a tool stand, right?
Right.
So we're not going to do anything more. We're going to put some glue on this, but that's all we're going to do, right?
Yep. Okay. So we'll do all the other sides and then
We're
come
going
back.
to do all them exactly the same way.
Okay.
So here's our lap joint, and as you can see, it comes together nicely. Now, if we're building furniture, this is pretty good, but here we are a little proud, which means that we need to raise the blade just a smidget, right?
Right.
If you're doing furniture, you need to do this first on a piece of scrap, so you know that you're dialed in perfectly. Also, unfortunately, there is some variation in the timber. So.
Right. Right.
But in our case, I can live with this. This is not a big deal.
Right, because this is just a base for a tool.
Right, and so, I mean, you can see it's what, an eighth maybe?
Yeah, maybe an eighth.
So, again, if that bothers you, you need to do a little more. And what you do, you have to have this distance on both boards. So,
right.
For us, really, doesn't worth the effort, right?
Right.
So we're going to do 2 half lap joints on each board. And then we're going to assemble. So we're going to do that, and we're going to get right back to you. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention, you notice we are moving the board back and forward. Now, because we have the fence there, we're not afraid we're going to do any more damage because the fence stops before it hits the blade, right? And the reason we do that is because the blades, like this blade, actually leave a little bit, it's here, more visible here. You see, they leave a little bit of a mark. And by running it, it cleans it like it is clean here, right?
Right. Right.
So,
and that really has to do with the curve of the blade.
Right. In our dado stacks make flat, and then you don't need to do that, right? And why we don't have a riving knife? on.
It would be in the way.
Yeah, we cannot do this kind of cut with the riving knife because the riving knife comes above the blade,
Right.
and we need to go clear through the blade. And also because we're not cutting through, this cut is not dangerous in the sense it cannot cause kickback, right? Kickback only happens when you have through cuts.
Okay.
This is not a through cut. We're not worried about the kickback. And you notice there was no problem at any point.
Right.
You didn't feel weird or anything.
Right.
So we're going to do the rest of the cuts that will take a little bit of time, and we're going to be right back with you. The point we want to make is when you make your half lap joints, you need to do them on the same side, similar to when you do pocket holes that you need them on the same side of the board, right? Otherwise, you're going to have a very interesting amalgamation of things, and potentially you can do it, but you have to alternate it in every board in order to work correctly, right?
Right. Right.
So this is just a little detail.
And another thing is once you've set it,
Right, you don't have to measure anything else. We measure once,
right, and we set it.
we set it, and we forget
and
it.
our fence is there, and so that we know that is the depth that we need to go every single time.
Do not move anything, do not move the blade, we don't move the fence, and it just rinse and repeat.
Right.
Alright, so we're going to rinse and repeat, and we'll be right back with you. Making our half lap joints, and I want to talk about another method you can do that. And you take your piece, we're using a scrap here for demonstration, and we made our first cut, which tells us how wide the lap joint is, right? And then you're going to bring your blade, your fence, close to your blade, and you might see where we're getting to this, right? Then you're going to raise the blade until you meet that mark, right?
That way seems a bit more dangerous.
It is. Then I want to talk about it and why we didn't do it.
Okay.
So you're going to bring your blade all the way up there, just to clear the cut, right? Now you're going to go half the thickness, whatever your thickness is. We're not going to do this cut, we're just showing it to you, right? So do not touch the blade. Let's say that's where the thickness was, right? And then if you run this through, it's going to give you a nice half lap. Why we don't do it in our fence here is very short, which will put our hands very, very close to the blade. So depending on your comfort level, safety is a personal thing, right? I don't feel safe doing that, and definitely I did not want to ask Alpida to do that, you know?
That's good, because I wouldn't have.
It is. Now if you have a longer fence,
A taller fence.
yeah, you can hold the piece clear from the blade and it's safe, but in this fence you have to hold it low enough, otherwise it will tilt. And it will be not a happy environment. But again, if you have the taller fence and you feel comfortable, this is another way to make a lap joint, and it will be much faster than we just did, right?
And so is using a dado blade, because it takes out more of the meat of the...
Right, well this will be the fastest way, you know,
Yeah.
even faster than a dator.
Yes.
In our specific saw, now if you have a cabinet maker saw, this cut is very easy. But in this kind of saw, this cut can be very dangerous. Just wanted to let you know there is another way to do that if you don't have a dado stack. But as you can see, you can do it. It takes a little bit of time. How long do you think it took us to make
Probably 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean it takes a little time. It is not the quickest operation, but you can do it. And half lap joints are very, very strong joints. You can use them in cabinetry, you can use them in making tables, in making couches and things of this nature. It's just that your wood, of course, will be better lumber than what we use.
Right.
And you have to be more precise in the joint itself, because you want to be totally flat.
Because it's furniture. Right,
Yeah.
right.
We didn't care about that, and it didn't worth our time or effort to take 1/16 off on each board to make
Right.
them perfect flush. 1/8 because they combine, so
Right.
1/16
Right.
becomes 1/8, right? It is totally fine with me on this specific application. So we're going to assemble now. So here is our dry fit, and as you can see, this kind of joint, one of the advantages, if you do it correctly, it actually squares itself, right? You don't even have to worry about square. And I'm going to have a bit come close here because, did we mess up? Look at this huge gap. What is happening, Elpida?
It's a warp in the board.
Right, these are not high quality boards and they're actually warped. But as you can see, when we glue it, it will be again 1/8, right?
Right.
And it is tight here,
Right.
it is not a problem. So don't be alarmed if you see a little bit of a disparity, like here it looks horrible and it looks very thick.
Right.
But it's just the board, it's not a problem, right?
Right.
One of the advantages of the method we showed you is that once you set it, nothing changes. So you know that your depth will not change, so
Right.
you're safe. Better quality lumber, of course, we have better dimensions, more consistent. Dimensional lumber, even though it's called dimension, Now lumber doesn't have good dimensions.
It
right?
It varies quite a bit.
It variates.
Variates, yeah.
I like that. So we're going to assemble it now, and we'll be right back. We're going to start assembling. We're going to use Tide Bond 3 glue. And as always, you only need to put glue on one of the surfaces, not both. You need something sharp to...
Assuming someone doesn't have a plug in it, so yeah.
What do you mean?
There we go. It had a plug.
All right. And then use the factory edges to align it as nicely as you can. And in our case, we're going to use some screws. You might want to lift it so it will bite, because this is the one that is not very, you see we have a small space here. You need to make sure that this is flush.
Okay.
We'll start with 2 screws, and if we feel we need more, we'll add more, right? Okay. I think 2 will be sufficient. All right.
And on the plus side, we didn't screw it to the bench.
Well, I wasn't concerned about that, were you? The other side is done identically, and we'll be right back for the next one.
Closest to me.
So we're using some casters with a lock, because we want to be able to use this, all right? Without moving around on us, and we're going to use the same screws to attach it. Hopefully the heads are long enough, otherwise we'll have to use some washers.
They're not.
Alright, so let us find some washers. So here we are with our set of washers. Set them first to make sure that they're the right for the... Yeah, that's fine. Why you took it out to put it back in?
Because that one is stripped a little bit.
Oh, okay. Actually, looking at it now, we didn't even have to put the other 2 screws.
What do you mean?
That goes in the same way.
Oh.
It would have held it together, you know.
It's not the right one.
And that's why I like to have a set of some things like washers around, because you never know when you need them, right?
Yeah. There we go.
So here we are, it is finally assembled, and at this stage you could put some old pieces of carpet over the members here, and you can have a furniture dolly that will allow you to move your couches and big chairs and things like that without causing any harm. These are polyurethane wheels, which means they will not damage your wood. They're not hard plastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, for our purpose, if you're doing a dolly, it doesn't have to be lockable. In our case, we have all 4 locking, right?
Right.
Because we want to be able to lock it in place when we're using the saw.
Right. Otherwise it locks while you're doing
It would be
things.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, it looks, I would say, nice. I mean, it is not furniture.
No, but it has come together nice, and it's moving very smoothly, which is
And
really,
we didn't
really
even have
good.
to use our magic clamps.
No, we did not.
Again, one of the advantages of this kind of joint is that it
It automatically
itself,
squares. Yeah.
you know. All right,
Okay.
let's put it on the floor and see how it moves.
Okay. Come on.
Come on. Did you say come on?
I did. We're still rolling. We're gonna show them.
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
Right. Don't try to skateboard on it though.
No, I was planning to.
Yeah.
It is smooth, man.
Yeah.
Ah, that's nice.
Excellent.
That is very nice. Right?
Yeah.
Alright, so the next step will be to attach the saw to this.
Okay.
So here it is, our saw is on the, how we'll call that, trolley?
Yeah.
And we're going to secure it with screws because it happens that our saw has, I don't know if they're visible. We need a light, I think. I cannot do. But there are holes that the thing has.
Can you turn? Yeah.
The thing.
Right. So it has holes so it can be secured to a platform.
So we're going to do that next. So we'll put 4, I think let's put all 4 of them.
I think so. That'll work, I think.
Yeah, it might be a little challenging to put it in.
Well, putting it backwards, yeah. But if I can turn it a little bit. I'm a righty. I'm gonna have to turn it the other way.
Okay. That's an interesting approach.
I think we really need a longer bit. Otherwise it's going to go out at an angle.
I don't care if it is on an angle.
There you go then.
Okay. And here we are. One person can very easily now move the saw around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course here we have a little bit of a
lip.
but still it is very doable. One person can move.
Yeah, easy to navigate because it is attached to the base.
So here we are. This is a nice organization touch, again because our shop is small.
Mm-hmm.
It is important that we have everything on wheels, and we do. Our
Right.
scrap bin is on wheels, and the saw is on wheels. Everything we have
Parts
around us
here,
is on
this
wheels.
is all wheels.
But as you can see, this is very easy. I mean, I'm using 2 fingers. It's very easy to move around. It's not a problem at all.
Right.
Potentially, we can even put a little bit of storage there, right?
Let's not do that again. It makes it heavy.
Oh, I see. All right, as you can see, I have this open, and the reason I have it open is because it has been in storage for over a year and I needed to service it.
Yep.
Which is a good thing because we found out that the bottom tire was broken, so I've ordered a new tire for it. And Elpida insists, even though we have a perfectly good blade, she insists that we need to get a new blade, so we'll see.
And your viewers probably remember we've been talking about getting a new blade for quite some time.
Yeah, but this one works. You know.
Sort of. But we've also discovered how a new blade can make a difference on your tool.
True.
So we need a new blade.
In any case, friends, I hope you enjoyed this. And what is neat about this is, it is really, we use the word adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
You can put anything you want on this kind of coasters, right?
Right.
And if you don't want to do the half lap, you don't have to. It just will not look as clean. Right now, that has a very clean look. You can do it without the half laps exactly the same way. You'll just have to use longer screws.
Yeah, the old one was like that.
Right, but we're evolving and we're becoming
Right.
better.
Right. So I'm just saying it's functional. It's just
Right.
just how much trouble do you want to go to?
But based on your skill level, if you don't want to do half laps, don't do half laps, right?
Right.
You have to make sure that it is square, though. Again, the half laps ensure that you will be square. So that's a good benefit of the half laps. Half laps. I cannot say half laps.
Yeah, you just keep saying hap laps.
Again, this was a very quick, put together project that is simply designed to help us with organizing and making our shop be more efficient. Because moving this, even though it is not a huge saw, it's still fairly heavy for one person.
It is.
If you have to move it around all day, that becomes
Yeah.
tiresome very quickly.
Yeah.
So, friends, this is our show for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, we would appreciate a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know what else you might want to watch in future episodes of the Urban Homesteading channel. From Dr. Wizard and Elpida, we want you to wash your hands, get vaccinated, put your mask on, so you will stay safe to watch our next episode. Stay safe, friends.